My name is Mickey Keats, and I'm here to share with you a little bit about my research project for this semester, which of course is going to serve as the basis of my capstone next semester. And I want to just say that I'm excited about this work that I've been doing because it has the potential to benefit an important element of Stockton University, and that is the William J. Hughes Center for Public Policy. I'm going to give you a little background on that before I share with you the work that I've been doing, so you can understand how it is that I came to find my instructional problem. So this semester, I got a graduate assistantship with the Stockton Polling Institute. This is a photo of the Polling Institute, which is in N Wing, and the person in the center of this photo is John Frungian, and he is the director of the Polling Institute. So I had the privilege of working closely with him, and he is the person whom I inquired about, or who I conducted a needs analysis for. So the Polling Institute mostly does political polls in southern New Jersey. For instance, they polled for the governor's race recently, and they poll for a lot of legislative seats, etc. And they employ approximately 120 students, and about 30 students at a time work in the Polling Institute. As you can see in these cubicles, the polling happens with about 30 people at a time conducting interviews in public polls. So an interview, a public poll is pretty much like an interview, and it's done over the telephone. So when I asked Mr. Frungian, I conducted a needs analysis with him, and I asked him what he thought could benefit the Polling Institute. He told me that he would like to modify training so that the pollsters, the interviewers, could be more productive in their work. Specifically, what that means is being able to take an interview from beginning to end without, let's say, someone being bored and hanging up or just, cutting them off. So we spoke about this. I did the needs analysis, and we figured out that some advanced training would be appropriate. So from this, I gathered that the instructional problem was that the training offered to the employees was not using the most vital information from those who were the most successful in conducting interviews, meaning that every evening that polls were conducted, approximately 30 students were conducting interviews, and at the end of the evening, a few of those interviewers were more successful than the others, meaning they were able to take an interview through to its end. So what I did was I established a questionnaire and I did personal interviews, and I also established a questionnaire to find out what these high achievers, as I call them, what these high achievers were doing that the persons who were not doing quite so well in conducting polls were doing. This is a copy of the questionnaire, the interviewer form that I created, and I personally asked the high achievers questions, and some of them I actually had fill them out. So at this point, I have 20 high achiever surveys conducted, and I'll just read some of these questions to you so you get an understanding of what it is I was trying to pull from these high achievers. So the first question is, what do you think you do that helps you to complete more interviews than others at the Stockton Polling Center? Some of the students said the same things here, so it really allowed us to see some interesting perspectives. The second question, do you use your first name during interviews? This is a big deal because a lot of students don't use their first names, and it seemed as though those who were using their first names and being more personable were achieving higher rates of completed interviews. Go to 5. What would you recommend be changed about the script you're reading during interview? That speaks directly to training. Number 6, what would you recommend be added or dropped from the training you received that taught you how to properly conduct a poll? So these interviews will serve as a basis for me to form a modified training technique. And next semester, I will be able to split the interviewers, the pollers, into 2 groups. One will be the control group, and they will use the same means that they've been using all along. The second group, or the other half, approximately 15 people, will have gone through modified training, which will include all of the input that the high achievers have submitted to me through personal interview or written interview. So then in this case, the null hypothesis is that training does not modify advanced training, which uses the input from the high achievers, does not in any way change the percentages of finished interviews at the end of a poll. Of course, what I'm hoping for is that statistics will show that the training will change the percentage of closed or interviews that have gone to completion. I would like to add that one of the exciting parts of this research for me was that the director of the polling center stated to me that he has wanted to do this for many years, but he hadn't had the resources and the time to put this into fruition. So I'm excited. Of course, I hope that the results are in my favor, but even if they're not, it's still important work, and it's work that he's excited that I'm helping him with. Ultimately, we're going to use an instructivist approach because the training is done not by collaboration. The training is done by the director training the staff or the students or the pollsters directly. However, we do plan to use a constructivist approach in a sense by allowing forums whereby the high achievers talk and collaborate together. In fact, there has been an element of constructivist approach on this because when I interviewed these high achievers, although I did this in a one-on-one perspective, we allowed communication between all the high achievers afterwards. So everyone in this group is talking about the others' results, meaning the others' viewpoints of what makes them high achievers and what they'd like to see in training and what they don't like in training. So it's pretty neat.